Get this 11 to 1 weekdays on the Triple M network.
Really?
I'd be Tony Martin, yes. That's Ed Cavalier. You just
Hi, yeah.
Who pushed that button? I think it was Richard Marsland.
Ricky.
Oh, welcome aboard, everybody.
Hi, Ricky.
It's the middle of the week, so it's time for the Richard Marsland Midweek Challenge. Yes, it's the Richard Marsland Midweek Challenge, and that always prompts a lot of fireworks at the studio. And
The intro goes on a bit.
yeah, it's quite a lot of fireworks, and it's clearly going to be a great challenge.
It's a 21 cannon salute.
I hope we're not overselling it.
That was awesome.
Thank you, Marty Sheargold on Flashpots.
Sheargold-esque.
Okay, there's a lot of talk about Richard Marsland. Everyone wants him to panel their show.
They
but
do.
How good is he?
The new zoo, begging for his services in Adelaide.
That is true.
Shebang tried to get him.
Yeah.
Understanding 50. I was doing some stand-up with Cole Elliott a couple of weeks ago.
Can't help laughing with Cole.
Yeah.
It's time to canvass a big issue. I think nuclear power, that'd be the big issue today.
All right.
And we're going to do it with the help of Richard Marsland. We're going to find out just how good he is on the buttons.
Awesome.
Okay.
Have you been rehearsing?
Yeah, sure. What can you do? I mean, all I can do is crack my knuckles and hope for the best.
All right. I think we've got someone on the line. Mr. Howard.
Yes, get this. My film that nobody else likes is Ice Castles.
That was Monday's show, Mr. Howard. Today we're talking nuclear power.
Oh.
Is it true you knew about this bid to build a new reactor by a consortium of local businessmen?
Of course. Crazy John told me about the idea months ago.
Sorry, Crazy John is involved?
Yes, Crazy John's Discount Energy Warehouse. Brain-snapping nuclear bargains. Clean, green and completely insane.
Nice sound effect, Mr. Howard. Mr. Rudd, your comments?
If the Prime Minister wants to be hairy-chested about nuclear energy, then perhaps...
Yep, we've heard that one. Rodney Rood, your view. Mr. Howard, how many reactors are we talking about in toto? No, not Toto, Richard.
I quite like that song. And I'd like to request Ed Cavalier's Nights in White Satin.
Nights, white satin.
Mr. Howard, I think we're getting off the subject. If this keeps up, we'll never
reach to the end.
Yeah, so
If the Prime Minister wants to be hairy-chested about the Moody Blues...
I wasn't talking to you, Mr. Rudd.
Nearly cocked it up there, Richard.
Sure did. Why do you keep playing that laugh? Is it because Rodney's on his
Frog sack.
tour? Because he is on his
Frog sack.
tour. Anyway, getting back to Mr. Howard, who's certainly not on a
Frog sack.
tour. Very good, Richard.
If Mr. Rude wants to be hairy-chested about...
Shut up, Rudd. You're not on a
Frog sack.
tour, who's to say whether I am or not?
It's Rodney Rudd. I'm sorry, this interview's completely off course. Mr. Howard, are you gearing up for a
Frog sack.
Sorry, a showdown with Maxine McHugh?
I'll take whoever the ABC can throw at me. Maxine, Ian Parmenter, B2, Rob Polar, the Bailey, whoever they want.
Can I just play some comments you made in a recent interview on this program?
It's not one of those sketches, is it? They are, as Alexander Downer likes to say.
Puro.
Good one, Richard.
No, this is the clip here. I hear you've had some pretty wild parties at the lodge.
There have been allegations about human rights abuses.
Tony, that is a ludicrous caricature of my voice. I'm not going to respond to that.
Mr. Rudd.
If the Prime Minister...
Yes, thank you. That's clearly a case of
Hot cow.
Frank Butcher from EastEnders. You've got no right to just barge in here.
I have every right.
Oh, really? Why is that?
I love you, you balmy old horse.
I see. David Bowie, your thoughts on nuclear power?
It is the NAS. Or maybe it's not.
I don't think it is the NAS. Although Gavin Wood from Houseboat Horror says...
Magnificent, you'll bar up.
Hinder, your thoughts? That wasn't the answer I was expecting.
So you're saying now you're qualified to tell me?
David Dickinson from Bargain Hunt has joined us. Oh, you're just playing anything now. This is
I'm paying money.
What are you doing?
Yellow belly black
Oh, come on. What, Richard, I don't think the computer can handle...
Absolute bollocks.
Everybody,
How good is
get
this?
down! What were you doing?
Sorry.
You were just playing anything there at the end.
Sorry. It's an old panel. It's got bell bottoms. It can't handle that.
What's all this white powder that's all over me from inside the panel?
Whoa.
Why is that dog attacking you? Look, there's a whole list of stuff. I have to say, every day at the top of the show, we go, coming up on the program.
Yeah.
And then going to an air break, we might go, stick around because we're doing this. You've mentioned like dozens of things already this year which you've never done.
What?
What happened to the Razzie winners? We're going to do that on our Oscar show. What happened
yeah.
into the ad break yesterday? And you go, stick around because I've got news on Galen's career.
Yeah, I did say that.
Do you not write things down?
No.
I mean, it used to be just challenges that you never did. Now, like, whole sentences are previewed and they never turn up.
What was it about Galen, Tone?
I don't know. But
Your idea.
Did I tell you off air?
Yeah. Well, no, you said, I'll tell you on air. So, if
You know, I want to make a promise. I thought actually
Another one.
No, hang on. I thought about this morning, right? Because
Yeah.
I've been listening back to the podcast. Firstly, I'm getting a little bit upset because Marsland's starting to show me up, right, with his
How?
constant professionalism, buttons and highlighted bits of paper and great jokes. So what? Oh, you just put him away, Marsland.
He's got something on that fat kid from England, have you? I think we all saw that one.
So I left my printout of that downstairs.
What I
though,
love
so
is
I don't have anything.
Richard and I were looking at it for jokes, and Ed's just looking at it like it's a menu.
Well,
Great, 17 hamburgers for lunch.
I did notice that he has a hamburger and chips for lunch.
Yeah.
But he was thinking about having it for breakfast. Trying to oust the
Yeah.
Cocoa Pops because they just weren't tasty enough.
We're getting to that later. What was the thing about a priest and a...
Oh, what did the priest give a stripper?
Yeah, that
A
story was...
severed hand. He
We
was
waited 3 weeks to find that out. Every day at the top of the second hour, you said that, and that's what it was.
It's not interesting.
Why did he give
It's
us...
not interesting that a stripper is trying to seduce a doctor and he's looking for gifts to give her and he's thinking, well, you can't give the girl that has everything, you know, money-wise, stuffed into her stuff,
Yeah.
right? Or I've got to give her something that she's going to remember me by. So he gave her a severed hand.
Did he slip it down the front of the dirt?
Of course he did.
Sort of Jack Nicholson in The Departed style.
Exactly.
And where did that happen? So that we know it's a new story and not something you've just made
Just
up.
Seattle. Let's say Seattle.
Seattle. Okay, what other things have you promised to talk
Nothing.
about and never got to? What about your MySpace page? Emails.
Emails. Oh, you know, here we go. I do
Yeah.
have one of those.
Okay.
Here we go. This is from Nathan, probably several weeks ago. Thank you, Ed, it says in big letters. After hearing your glowing endorsements for Shortbus, I rented
yes.
it to watch with friends. Never have I seen such damage done to the human psyche in such a short period of time. One friend still stares at me, unable to say anything other than, but why on your own face? Another claims he will never play the trombone again. My housemate has retreated into her room for the last 2 days to watch it repeatedly with only the sound of constant giggling emerging from within.
Right.
Leaving me to answer the calls from the video store asking for the movie's return because it's hide on my card. What freaks they must think I am. Showing this movie to the sexually repressed has now become more fun than making vegans watch the buffalo slaughter in Apocalypse Now.
That's what he does. That's his idea of fun.
That's Nathan, one of us. I asked you for a sting, didn't I?
I just found a little something. And what did you want it to represent?
Shortbus.
Okay.
So now, from now on, when we mention Shortbus, this is the sonic action trigger. So, hey, Rich, have you seen Shortbus? Was that it? I thought it was a splat.
Well, we couldn't find a splat.
Can we not say sonic action trigger? That's the kind of terminology we're meant to be avoiding on this program.
So there you go. But listen, I'll give you a promise, Martin.
Yeah.
I'm going to tabulate all the things I said I'd never do because
Yeah.
I think it's a metaphor for my life. A lot of things I say I do, I never do them.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do them.
There's just a giant Bay Marie in front of you with just little stories from the Brisbane Courier Mail from last October just
I
floating
know.
to the surface.
Tony, I'm not very good at this.
Shortbus is only on overnight loan only.
Yeah.
I think it's fair to point out that it is not for the kiddies.
Right.
We've said that every time.
Yeah.
I don't want to see it now because it's been built up so much. I'm expecting something, I'm sure, far more graphic than
There
what
is
it
a very happy ending.
Okay.
Yeah, at
Wonderful.
the beginning. All right, we've got serious issues.
Oh,
Promises.
so what? This break was just have a go at Cavalier? Is that what it was?
No, it was informative about films.
Oh. You know what? I am going to sizzle something.
Yeah.
Everyone listening, go to myspace.com/Ed Cavalier. There are some pictures of you, Tony, which
Of
will make
me?
it some very interesting viewing.
Oh, my God.
My 800 friends have been hard at it. Michael has sent in a lovely photograph of you with the
Turn the
silkiest...
screen round. What is it? What
Look
is
at
it?
that silky yellow shirt.
Oh, my God, that's me and Pseudo Echo, I think, was the sketch.
He's got a flying V guitar, a very
Yeah.
serious pout on his face. Same glasses he's wearing today.
My God.
Look at that, Rich. Look at that attention to detail. He's
see
pulled the jeans
Yeah.
up above the edge of the flying V, but below the satin shirt tuck in, just so we can check out the silver buckle.
That's Funky Town playing the Tabaret.
And here you are now. Look,
That's me as Warwick Capper,
No, I don't-
apparently.
no, you can say what you like. That's you in a Don Johnson wig, big glasses, a gold chain.
How are these... Because these aren't off the Late Show DVD. These must be people who have got the original tapes.
I don't know. Look,
Oh
Michael
my
says he's
God.
gone through his archives. So
Yeah.
great job, son.
Read through his archives. What must they be like?
Your house?
Yeah, fair enough.
Now, off air, Tony, just to let people in on the world. You took your headphones off and went, Richard, you want to mention that fat kid now? Hey? You know that fat kid?
Yes. It's like working with
Give him a kicking.
Forrest Whitaker in The Last King of Scotland sometimes.
Eddie Martin. It's Eddie Martin.
But then,
Joking.
but then the conversation was like, oh, well, are we having a go at him? And then it's like, no, it's his mother
Yes. Yeah,
who's
well-
making him eat. It's tough love that fat kid needs. It's not like it's a medical condition.
No.
Listen to the guy's daily intake. Breakfast, Cocoa Pops, that's fine.
Delicious.
Start sensible.
that
11
right?
a.m., this is an 8-year-old kid. Who looks like the bloke from Lost. 11 a.m, 3 slices of toast with sliced meat.
Whoa.
Lunch, that's an hour later, 2 sausages, a burger, chips and soft drink. Dinner, takeaway, roast. The roast will include Yorkshire puddings, 4 of them. Snacks, this is where the trouble starts. Every 20 minutes, intake will include 4 packets of chips, 3 packets of biscuits, several bars of chocolate.
Is she looking to adopt that woman? She wanted a 27-year-old son to go with her 8-year-old?
Is he being fed sandwich on stick? No, because I saw him on the news
Yeah.
on a trampoline.
Best
Trampoline.
footage ever. And the smallest kid trying to stand as far away from him on the trampoline as he can because he knows what's going to happen.
The bounce back.
One false jump and he's face first into the gut. Or even worse, if he falls, it's face first into the gear, if you know what I'm saying.
I'm sure he's been projected to Wales on occasion. Nasty pun there, but no, I feel a little bit sorry
Shock.
because he's only 8 years of age, and yet
He's broken 4 beds and 5 bikes, has trouble dressing himself.
This is what I'm talking about.
a few issues.
It's good stuff.
But now, if he was having trouble dressing himself, okay, on its own, that's not funny. But it's his mother who just won't stop. And she's going, oh, he just likes junk food. I mean, he put a bit of apple in his mouth once and just spit it out in disgust.
Oh, no.
No, I want the 14 Yorkshire puddings, please.
there is some good news. He's been cast as a goon in a new Guy Ritchie film, so that's wonderful. No, that's a bit mean, but there was a grab from the kid himself, and obviously it's a big issue.
Sure.
Child obesity. But here's the little kid speaking now.
Eating less and eating healthy foods and being on my trampoline loads of times.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what he said, but if you slow it down, when he coughs, you can actually hear what he coughs up.
Eating less.
That's unnecessary. Sorry. That's all Matt Dower.
Do you know who? You love it now. Do you know who's to blame here? Is the bullies. The bullies aren't doing their job.
Well, hang on.
This is where they
Be careful.
No, this is where they come into their own. If a kid's packing.
Oh, so bullies can work for good.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying.
He's 8 years old.
Yeah, and he's going to school. And no bullies have noticed he's a boomba.
No one wants him to, bounce off the tramp and onto them, I'm guessing.
Come on, guys, pick up your socks. Stop
Interesting.
worrying about the kids with the bum chins and go after the fat kids.
Now, Lawrence Mooney's class
Yeah,
to join
man,
up.
what's up?
Comedian Lawrence Mooney. Welcome back.
Thank you very much, Tony. It's always nice to be in here.
Yes.
In the air-conditioned comfort at Get This.
It can turn. All of a sudden, it'll be Singapore Airport. It's
Right.
just a
Has it got its own weather system, Get This?
That monkey that used to choose the music.
Yep.
I don't know.
He's in the vents.
We have been told explicitly not to mention that anymore. That never happened.
Sorry. The outbreak monkey.
Yeah.
One day, I will connect up my email at this joint and find out what I'm supposed to say and not supposed to say.
Is that monkey ill?
Yeah.
No, what?
Okay.
Ixnay on the unky, mate.
Let's move to less controversial topics. Plagiarism in comedy. Something that always
Party in
intrigues.
Nuremberg there, Tone?
Yeah, there's a lot of evidence building for the Nuremberg. Lawrence is telling me that there is an instance where plagiarism is permitted.
I think that there's a tacit agreement amongst comedians,
Yeah.
and I'm invoking the word tacit,
Yeah,
that if you're corpsing at a corporate, you have got diplomatic immunity on reaching for any material
Is that right?
you want. And that goes as far as Rodney Dangerfield, right through to Greg Fleet.
Have you ever done Rodney's joke about Canada?
No, I've done a couple of Rodney jokes. I grew up in a tough area. The Lebanese restaurant around the corner, their specialty was broken leg of lamb.
So,
Every time we shut the window, we broke somebody's fingers.
It does get very desperate on the
wonderful.
corporate circuit, and I can understand why you might have to bust out the Dangerfield gear.
And, of course, there's comedians that get into a narrative, and there's comedians that are gagmeisters, and I'm not one of them. And at a corporate, they don't want the narrative.
No.
They want you open the joke book and give me a
Boom,
joke.
boom,
it
boom,
might
boom,
be off
boom,
the
boom.
internet, yeah.
Yes,
we don't care.
If I can plagiarise Brian Potter from the British sitcom Phoenix Nights, tell us a joke we know. That's where you never want to hear that. The Montreal Comedy Festival, I understand, is the place to go to see material being stolen.
Yeah.
And Ross Noble told, I won't name who he's talking about, but
Ross Noble.
Ross Noble was in the audience of a gig at Montreal and saw an Australian comedian doing a whole chunk of his material. And he knew it was his material.
Richard, with the wig on. Richard had the wig on, you know.
But listen to this. He knew it was his material because the story it was based on had been invented by Ross.
Ouch.
He dreamt a news story and thought of a whole lot of jokes for it and went, I'll say that was in the news. And then this other bloke comes out and says the same thing.
Ouch.
The thing is with Ross Noble, his material is so kind of surreal and
That's
original.
right.
You know, he talks about budgers eating jelly beans. Just imagine. And who's going to steal that?
There's a load of monkeys. You've got a load of monkeys in the boot of your time machine.
Don't mention monkeys.
You've got a show coming up at the Melbourne Comedy Festival and probably touring around to all centres called Where To.
It is called Where To, and it's about life inside the taxi. It originally started life as conversations in a taxi, me talking to drivers. Where are you from? How long have you been here?
Taxi cab confessions.
Have you been busy? Yes. Then I decided to get over the console into the driver's seat. What it has done is just opened my mind as to what happens inside the cab. It is fascinating. Do you know what you do out there, the travelling public? You get in there and you tell me secrets. They spill their guts because they think that, well, the cab driver, well, like, you know, he's a blank canvas, he's anonymous.
It's like the confession box.
Oh, the
in effect.
confessional. One bloke was saying to me after too many beers, I was taking him back to Glen Waverley, and he said, I'm moving in with my girlfriend tomorrow. Am I making a mistake? Am I? And I said, well, don't ask a male for advice on this. Speak to your mum. And
good.
he goes, well, and his theory was beautiful. He goes, this is my idea, all right? I move in with my girlfriend. All during the week, I sit there in tracky dacks, we eat takeaway, we watch DVDs. She loves it. That's junk time. And then on the weekend, I'm free to hang out with my mates.
Yeah.
So he's referring to time with his girlfriend as junk time.
Wisdom. Are you dispensing wisdom as a cab driver? Or
Look, I observe a bit of a protocol. I won't engage in conversation and start spilling my opinions on the passenger until they kind of engage me.
Right.
But quite often they're up for a chat, and so sometimes you sit in silence. But some of the wisdom came during my Silvertop taxi school.
Yes.
Peter, who was the one that signed me on, he looked at me straight in the eye and said, why do you want to be a cab driver? I said, because I'm doing this comedy show. He said, right. He said, it's pretty tough out there, lots of drunks. And I said, how do you deal with a drunk? And he said, I've been a taxi driver for a long time. Before this, I ran a pub for 15 years, and before that, I was a copper for 15 years. He goes, all I've dealt with is drunks. And this is the secret to the drunk.
Yes.
He said, drunks are like children. You tell them off, they'll throw a tantrum. Ask them for help, and they're yours.
Wow.
So ask a drunk for help. So if his mates are arcing up in the back, don't go, would all you guys just shut up? Because then he's like, why don't you?
Yeah.
You say, excuse me, could you tell your mates to, keep it down? And then he's like, give the taxi driver a go. Give him a go. This bloke's all right. And you have enlisted him for life.
That's the most sensible bit of advice we've got on this show.
So is that what I should have done when the drunks came up to me in the street the other day and literally grabbed me around the neck and told me the story about how his friend had just lost a dare, so he had to go and have sex with a pre-ops transgender?
Right.
Should I try to ask for his help?
You ask for his help. You say, now that you've got me in a headlock, could you carry me home? And he goes, all right, I'm going to give it a shot. Come on, we're carrying Ed home.
You're right.
Rather than, hey, let go of me, he goes, right, you're up yourself.
It's true. It's exactly what happened. I said, that was a great story, fellas. May I leave? All right. Our story's not good enough for you, hey, Cavalier? Not good enough for the radio.
You say, do you know what? Could you tell me another story? I'm just going home to get my clipboard. And they'll wait for you.
Get my dictaphone.
True, not good enough for me. I've had that in Scotland.
Yes.
A bloke claimed I think in his words, you staring at my girlfriend's tits.
What?
And then I've gone, no, because I actually wasn't.
Right.
And then he's turned the other way. What, not good enough for you?
Right.
Oh, you said my girlfriend's packing chicken in a basket? Is that what you're saying? I have no idea what that means.
And your next statement is, you just want to punch me. Regardless of
Yeah,
my,
let's just cut to the
my
chase.
response.
So that's helpful advice.
That is
Lawrence,
great advice.
Have you done that, Lawrence? Have you
I've had drunks and asked them for assistance, and they are just malleable. If you tell a drunk off, I've also had people vomit, but not in the cab, because I'm very trained at watching the signs. The sucking of the cheeks when the mouth starts to water, and you get to the they start working the lips and the tongue. I've reefed the cab over twice and said, just open the door and put your body out, and they're still in the middle of the sentence.
That's smart as
I'm
well.
not going to.
Yeah. See, when we see that face in here, it usually means the Hinder song's about to come on.
I actually have given up drinking and haven't had a drink for 7 months.
Well done.
And so the smell of alcohol is so strong for me now.
Yeah.
And anything after 10 p.m, anybody that gets into a cab is just blind.
But I'm
I think it's a law.
I'm assuming you're countering that by wearing no deodorant, though, as is traditional.
Well, it was Jeff Kennett that made taxi drivers wear uniforms. Now, Tony,
Yes.
I didn't know
Richard,
that.
Ed,
Really?
In
why
Victoria, it's uniforms for everybody.
Yeah, why is that? Why does a cab driver need to wear a uniform? Normally, that distinguishes people from the general public from people that need to be doing a job of great urgency, ambulance, firemen, police. But when you get into a cab, not much mistaking who the cab driver is.
That's so true.
If he was sitting there in tracky dacks and a singlet, you wouldn't go, okay, where's the driver? Why is a cab driver in a uniform?
And don't they have to buy them themselves?
They do. They buy, and why? How many do they buy? They buy one. And and I, after a 60-hour shift, I was smelling like a cab driver. But it is also a sign of seniority. How many years you've been in the job? If you've got that black, the blue has now turned black.
Yeah, that's right. He's an old hand. He's a top gun.
You just go, okay, this guy, clearly his uniform, it's like the 4 gold braid on a sea captain.
Lawrence, the only thing we know about cab driving on this show is we had a caller a couple of weeks ago who said the hairy checkbook.
Yes.
If you don't have any money, you pay with the hairy
Right.
checkbook.
Yeah. And I went down to the Commonwealth Bank and they had no idea what I was talking about.
I've asked a lot of cab drivers. Can I say, first of all, the hairy checkbook is a complete fallacy. My friend Andrea Powell said, have you been offered sex for payment? And I said, no. And she said, how embarrassing for you. But I think that the hairy checkbook is a bit of a fallacy, and it's my theory as to why there's no female cab drivers. Because you'd get to a long end of a long fare and every man would go, sorry, I haven't got any money, and just lower his trousers, hopefully.
But that hasn't happened to you.
No, I haven't been offered sex from men or women, but I have been told one joke. I've told a lot of cab drivers and said, what's your favourite taxi joke?
Yeah.
And the same joke keeps coming out. Picked up a naked woman the other night and took her from Ringwood to St Kilda.
Yes.
As we arrived, finished the meter and said to her, that'll be $37. And she said, oh, I haven't got any money. And I said, well, how are you going to pay me? And she puts one leg up on the dashboard and points down. And I said, you got anything smaller?
Hello. Still works. Busted out for the corporate gigs. Beauty.
Oh, I'm opening with that at corporate entertainment all over Australia.
We better crack on because Lawrence has got the meter sitting on the desk.
Okay. We want to talk about what have you found, because look at this. Everyone must have seen James Cameron, the film director.
Oh, yes.
Busting out what he claims is the tomb of Jesus Christ. It looks kind of to me like a prop from the Flintstones movie.
Now, he's found 2 tombs, and I've heard that he's going to be releasing a special edition 3-tomb set.
Very nice. There's inscriptions all over them. Look, so this is the evidence. One says Jesus, Mary Magdalene. One says best before 1 BC. Sorry. But they're claiming that, it's a very common name, Jesus, in those days. So
It could be an Irish esky, and somebody's just written on it, Jesus, Mary and Joseph.
Well, what it is it's the latest attempt to distract from the fact that he hasn't made a movie for about 12 years. That's what it is for James Cameron. But we're saying, what have you found?
Hi, Rod.
How you going, guys?
Excellent. What'd you find?
Probably about 20-odd years ago, I was driving down Sydney Road in Coburg, and there's heaps of traffic, and all of a sudden I see this black box bouncing on the road in front of me.
Yes.
And as it's got beside me, it's just sort of opened up, and money's just gone all over the place. So I did a big Starsky and Hutch up on the footpath and stopped the van, jumped out, and the bloke across the road, he stopped all the traffic behind him. And I've gone, did you see where that come from? The bloke says, no, I thought it was yours. I've gone, no, mate. So he's grabbed the box, And I'm there running down Sydney Road picking up these 20s here, 20s there, 20s there. So he earned that with the bulk of it, which probably would have been a couple of grand in there.
Yeah.
It was in the days of the old getting paid cash for your work.
Sure.
That are into your bank account. So I ended up with about $80. And he ended up with about $2 grand.
Our next caller is Chopper Reed, and he'd like a word.
I come from Sydney.
Okay, of course you do.
Hi, Vicky. How are you?
Actually, I'll cut a long story short. My mother passed away a couple of years ago. Certain members of the family moved out of the house.
Yes.
And my auntie and myself were up there cleaning up, and we've got a couple of Rottweilers in the backyard.
Right.
And she went out into the backyard to have a look what plants she could pinch. And she's come running in saying to me, quick, come and help me. I think someone's tried to break in. And the dogs have attacked them and they've lost their wobbly bits. And I went out in the yard and there was a vibrating friend that looked so real where the dogs had chewed up the end of it. And my auntie commenced to pick it up on the shovel saying, oh, what are we going to do about this poor person?
Saying she thought that what's happened is a series of nude people have jumped the fence to steal plants and been interrupted by the Rottweilers.
Something like that, yeah.
Where did the aforementioned sexual apparatus come from?
Well, I think it might have belonged to the sister-in-law.
Right. And
But
so,
we won't go there.
What's her name?
You want her phone number?
okay, so the dogs dug up a vibrator.
Yeah.
Who's going next?
Hi, Chris. How are you?
Yeah, g'day guys. How you doing?
Good, bro. What'd you find?
Mate, I'm a plumber. I was doing this little job on a house and had to dig a few holes.
Yeah.
And I was looking for this pipe, and I was just sort of just scratching around, just moving a bit of dirt around. And next thing you know, there's $800 in $50 notes.
So you obviously keep that.
Mate, I made a beeline for the closest liquor store, and my beer fridge just looked so good after that. It was just incredible.
And may I say, a wise investment, sir. Well done.
Because you could just fritter that 800 away, couldn't you?
I could have.
On needless things.
Could have wasted it.
And can I ask, Chris, the bloke who was on at the beginning of this segment, and he said, oh, now that, paying for things in cash is a thing of the past. That's not true, is it?
Cash, mate. I'm a tradie.
There you
Cash.
Hey,
I've never seen so much cash after they brought that GST thing in.
That's exactly right. Remember, that was the main reason we got the GST. Oh, it's going to get rid of the black economy. No, it's given it the kick in the pants it needed to really get up to speed.
Thank you, Chris. Hello, Scott. How are you?
G'day, guys. How you going?
Really good. What did you find?
Well, we went out into the casino one night and parked in a car park near there.
Yep.
And came back, and in our boot the next morning was a bag, and inside the bag was like high heels, moisturiser, and a stripper's uniform.
Oh, yes.
Making it worse, it was my girlfriend's car, and she found it. So we just had to explain that we don't know how it's there.
Right, so how much is your girlfriend making doing this?
Why
And because the stuff, like the actual uniform, smelt like a stripper, we hung it from our light, so it was the air freshener in our house. So our whole house smelled like a stripper.
See, Lawrence, you could, instead of the little Christmas tree on the mirror, you could hang a stripper's uniform.
Hey, Scott.
What does a stripper smell
Yeah,
like?
hey, Scott, how would you describe Otis Stripper?
Oh, it's good.
All right, thank you, everyone who found something. Lawrence, this has been a lot of fun. What a bunch of great stories. If your show is half as good as what you've been busting out of your notebook, that's going to be a top-hole view.
You
When is
reckon
it happening?
It's happening from April 4th to April 29th at the Melbourne International Comedy Festival. Book on comedyfestival.com.au.
And probably coming to your town, and I love what you were about to say. You were about to say, do you reckon there's enough in there?
Yeah, I was.
I reckon there is.
Questions from the audience, perhaps, for a while?
It'll be like Quizmania. Those questions just go for 45 minutes, and we give away $3 at the end.
Improvisational genius after midnight on Channel 9. But thanks for coming in, Lawrence. Thanks to everyone who called up. Great stories today. Our key phrase, what was it, Ed?
Smells like a stripper.
Oh, it's good.
Get this, it's blown out to 2 hours, 11 to 1 weekdays on the Triple M network.